Hi guys, my name is Sarah, and today I'll be showing you guys my presentation on how artists like Monet use emotions to create nature art. So first we're going to read this book together called The Magical Garden of Claude Monet by Lawrence Anhol. Now while we're reading, I really want you guys to be thinking about the landscapes and the art and the backgrounds that the characters are in, and really start just taking notice of them. So, I wish we had a garden, said Julie. She looked down at the drab river which ran through the city. Even Louis the greyhound was bored with being inside. As soon as I have finished this painting, said Julie's mother, I'll take you on a journey to the most wonderful garden in the world. It belongs to my old friend, the painter Claude Monet. They took a big black train beside the twisting river, far out of the city. Julie ran around a corner and almost knocked over a big man with a spade. The man wore a straw hat and had a huge white beard. Oh, said Julie, I'm looking for my dog. Are you the gardener? I suppose I am, said the man. Come and look. One day, these tiny seedlings will grow into big flowers, but a gardener has to be very patient, just like a painter. Then Julie realized, You are Claude Monet, she gasped. Yes, laughed the old man, I am Claude Monet. Together they searched for Louis, along the shady path, deeper and deeper into the magical garden, until it seemed as if they had left the real world behind. They turned the handle on a rickety gate and stepped inside. It was like a garden inside a garden, a wild, wet, watery garden where willows bowed over a silent pool. Together they crossed the green bridge. When they rode across the pond, it felt like floating in Mr. Monet's paintings. Julie heard the splash of the oars and the birds calling in the trees. All around them, lilies sparkled like a midnight sky. When they reached the very middle of the pool, Monet stretched into the dark water and pulled out one flower, the biggest lily of all, as bright as a silver star. A little present from my water garden, he said. They took the train back to the city, and even Louis was tired. The garden seemed like a distant dream. Perhaps it's a little present from the water garden, she whispered, and as the city slept, she breathed in the sweet smell of the magical garden of Claude Monet. So we're now going to start talking about the artist, Claude Monet. So he was the man in the book with the big beard, and all of those landscapes and backgrounds were based on his real art. So he lived a very long time ago. He lived almost 200 years ago. And he was born in Paris, France. And he lived there his whole life while creating his art. And something interesting about Monet was that he painted outside. So most times when we think of artists, we think that they work in maybe a workshop or a studio or sometimes even like a classroom. But when Monet saw a beautiful scene, like a beautiful sunset or a beautiful like pond, he would go outside and take his art pieces, or I mean his tools, and he would go outside and he would paint from reality and not really much his imagination. So he created over 2,500 artworks during his time. And something about him was he didn't really like to use black paint. He liked to combine colors to create darker colors because he felt like it gave his art more life. So now I want us to start thinking about what colors are in this artwork. So I know when I look at this piece, I see a lot of blues, I see a lot of whites and greens. We can also see some light purples, but definitely mostly a lot of blue because it's in the sky and in the water. So next I want us to also start thinking now, this might be a little bit of a harder question, but what emotions are in this artwork? So these emotions can be what you feel while looking at the art or what you think the subjects might be feeling. So what I think the subjects might be feeling is they might be feeling maybe adventurous because they're standing on the edge of a cliff and they're looking out on the sea with a bunch of what looks to be like mini sailboats. And I know when I look at this piece, I actually feel a sense of calm or peacefulness. And the reason I feel this way is I want us to start connecting the colors to the emotions. So I think I feel a sense of peace because of all the blues. The blues are very relaxing to look at, as well as the greens. Now, this is a page from the book, and I want us to think what emotions are in this artwork. So I can see based on the colors and the brushstrokes and how the brushstrokes are all crazy and different, I feel a sense of maybe fear or being afraid. Also the feelings of anger, maybe nervousness or frustration. And those are based on the colors, like I said, there's reds and there's darker colors, but also the brushstrokes. So next up, we're going to fill out this worksheet identifying the emotions on here, and then we're going to color in the face to what color you associate with the emotion. So I know for me, like maybe happiness would mean yellow, or maybe scared could be like a purple, or anger can be red. So when filling out this sheet, there is no right answers at all. This is just to start getting us thinking about how our emotions can correlate into colors. All right, so that is all I have for my presentation. Just definitely starting to ask a lot of questions and do a worksheet to help kids identify our emotions and what those feel like and correlating them to a color. So basically, how color can create emotions through art. So that's all I have so far. Thank you so much for watching.